Good morning, everyone. You're watching Morning Brief at 9 with me, Sakshi Singh Litoria. Lots have been lined up for you. Let's first take a look at the top headlines coming in from the nation and across the globe this morning. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal says trade talks with the US are at an advanced stage as negotiations focus on tariffs in the first phase of a bilateral deal. India and Canada set to restart free trade talks as both the sides prepare to begin terms of reference discussions. India to grant duty-free access to over half of New Zealand's exports as both the countries conclude free trade agreement negotiations. Gold and silver surge to fresh lifetime highs as global uncertainty and safe haven demand drive a bullion rally. More than 500 flights delayed and several cancelled at Delhi airport as dense fog disrupts operations. United States pauses 5 major offshore wind projects over undisclosed national security concerns, raising fresh uncertainty over the renewable energy sector, long opposed by President Donald Trump. Oracle founder Larry Ellison offers a massive $40.4 billion personal guarantee to support Paramount's hostile takeover of Warner Bros. Discovery, intensifying a high-stakes bidding war with streaming giant Netflix. The European Union condemns China's move to impose tariffs of up to 42.7% on European Union dairy products, calling the action unjustified as trade tensions spread from electric vehicles to food exports. Japan's SoftBank scrambles to lock in $22.5 billion funding commitment to OpenAI by year-end, selling assets and tapping loans to stay at the center of the global AI race. And amid the ongoing trade negotiations between India and the US, Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal said on Monday it has reached an advanced stage in discussions for a bilateral trade agreement days after US Deputy Trade Representative Rick Switzer concluded a 2-day round of talks in New Delhi on December 11th. Speaking to the media, Piyush Goyal said discussions with Washington have progressed significantly even as India finalized a free trade agreement with New Zealand. He also highlighted that India has now sealed FTAs with 3 members of the Five Eyes Alliance, Australia, UK and New Zealand, and is also preparing to resume trade talks with Canada. The India-US trade talks are crucial, especially as the Trump administration has imposed 50% tariffs on Indian goods, hitting exporters hard. While companies are exploring alternative markets, the US remains India's largest trading partner, accounting for nearly 18% of the exports. Negotiations are focused on the first tranche of the bilateral trade agreement, with tariff relief seen as key to progress. While the US is seeking duty concessions on the agricultural and industrial goods, India has made it very clear it will not compromise farmer or MSME interests. The deal aims to more than double bilateral trade to $500 billion by the year 2030.
We are already at an advanced stage in our discussions with the USA. This reflects the growing strategic importance of India in world geopolitics.
The United States has welcomed India's newly enacted Shanti Bill, calling it a major step toward deeper cooperation on energy security and peaceful civil nuclear engagement. The US Embassy in India said Washington, D.C. sees this legislation as an opportunity to expand collaboration, including joint research, innovation and technical cooperation in the energy sector. Indian President Draupadi Murmu granted assent to the Sustainable Harnessing and Advancement of the Nuclear Energy for Transforming India or Shanti Bill after it was cleared by Parliament during the winter session. The new law marks a major overhaul of India's civil nuclear framework. It replaces older legislation governing the sector and opens nuclear power to private participation, long seen as a key hurdle to expansion. Now, under this new Shanti Bill, private companies and joint ventures can now build, own, operate and decommission nuclear power plants under government licenses. However, the government retains control over sensitive areas such as uranium and thorium mining, fuel reprocessing, waste management and heavy water production as well. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal said India and Canada are set to soon begin discussions on the terms of reference, the first formal step toward restarting negotiations for a free trade agreement between the two countries. Talks on a trade pact between the two countries had been paused by Canada since year 2023. Now, speaking to the media recently, Piyush Goyal said discussions on the TOR would define the scope and also structure of the proposed agreement. Both India and Canada have appointed chief negotiators for the trade talks, with Brij Mohan Mishra leading the Indian side and Bruce Christie representing Canada's side. Trade data shows India's exports to Canada rose nearly 10% to $4.22 billion in year 2024-25, with imports dipped slightly. Overall bilateral trade in goods and services stood at overall $18 billion in year 2023.
We are soon going to launch discussions for the terms of reference with Canada also. We are soon going to launch discussions for the terms of reference with Canada also.
India and New Zealand conclude a free trade agreement with India, agreeing to grant duty-free access to 54.11% of New Zealand's exports from day one to implementation. The goods covered include sheep meat, wool, coal and several forestry and wood products. The Commerce Ministry has said that. The two countries announced the conclusion of negotiations on Monday, with a pact expected to come into force after formal signing, a process likely to take 7 to 8 months from now on. Over time, duty-free access for New Zealand exports will expand further, rising to nearly 79% within the next 10 years. India, in fact, has also offered duty concessions on select agricultural products such as apples, kiwi fruit, manuka honey and milk albumins, but with strict safeguards. These sensitive items will be managed through tariff rate quotas, minimum import prices and safeguard measures to protect domestic farmers. Under the agreement, import duties on seafood items like salmon and mussels will be phased out over the 7 years, while duties on iron, steel and scrap aluminium will be eliminated within a decade to support cost-effective manufacturing in India. The government has stressed that quota levels remain conservative and below current import volumes, ensuring a balance between consumer benefits and protection of domestic agriculture and industry.
Friends, it's a historic and landmark FTA because it's not only concluded in a record time of 9 months. With a developed economy, we are all aware it usually takes much longer. But more importantly, it has 2 or 3 very interesting elements. One, it is our first FTA which is led by a completely almost non-men team. It's a women-led FTA. The chief negotiator was our senior colleague, Joint Secretary Petal. All the track leads were largely women, and I must compliment our women of substance taking a lead in finalizing this agreement. Thank you very much. It's also our third FTA with a Five Eyes nation: Australia, UK and now New Zealand.
Gold and silver prices have surged to fresh lifetime highs in the national capital, tracking a powerful rally in global markets. Gold jumped by 1,685 rupee to touch a record 1,38,200 rupee per 10 grams on Monday. Silver, in fact, surged even higher, soaring 10,400 rupee in a single session to hit an all-time high of 2,14,500 rupee per kilogram, inclusive of taxes. Analysts say bullish momentum in bullion remains very strong. In overseas markets, spot gold climbed nearly 2% to a record $4,420 an ounce, while spot silver surged over 3% to hit a lifetime high of nearly $69.5 an ounce. Experts attribute the rally to falling interest rates in the United States, growing fiscal concerns and rising uncertainty around the American economy, all of which are pushing investors towards safe haven assets. Silver is also benefiting from strong industrial demand, supply disruptions in mining and tight global interventions, while a weaker dollar and escalating geopolitical tensions are further boosting the rally in precious metals. Flight operations at Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport were hit hard by bad weather and low visibility, with more than 500 flights being delayed and at least 14 being cancelled. Airport officials said the cancellations included 6 arriving and 8 departing flights from the same international terminal. Delhi Airport, operated by DIAL, is the country's busiest aviation hub, handling around 1,300 flights on a normal day. Data from flight tracking website Flight Radar 24 shows that over 500 flights were delayed, with the average delay exceeding 30 minutes, causing major disruption for the passengers. Dense fog has been affecting flight operations not just in Delhi but across several airports over the past few days, as winter weather continues to reduce visibility and also impact schedules. Passengers have been advised to check flight status with the airlines before heading to the airport, as weather-related disruptions are expected to continue further. The Bangladesh's High Commission in New Delhi has temporarily suspended all visa and consular services, citing unavoidable circumstances. A notice displayed outside the High Commission states that all the consular and visa services are suspended until further notice. Officials from Bangladesh's Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed the development, saying that all the consular operations at the New Delhi mission have been halted following a late-night protest outside the premises on Saturday. Now, the move comes amid rising diplomatic and security tensions between India and Bangladesh. Earlier this week itself, India suspended visa services in several Bangladeshi cities, including Khulna, Rajshahi and Chattogram, citing security concerns. In the Chattogram, protest had turned violent after demonstrators allegedly pelted stones at a visa office building, prompting authorities to act on it. These developments unfold against the backdrop of growing unrest in Bangladesh following the killing of youth leader Sharif Osman Hadi, who succumbed to gunshot injuries after an assassination attempt earlier this month. With that, we are stepping into a very short commercial break. Do stay with us. We'll come right back.
क्वालिटी पे इतना कॉन्फिडेंस, इसलिए बिरला ओपस एश्योरेंस। एक साल में पेंट को कुछ भी हुआ तो पेंटिंग वापस करके देंगे। रजिस्टर करो billaopus.com पर।
पढ़ता है, खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
2026, take notes. Manifesting. For my little Miss Sunshine, tickles and giggles. Also wanna be a biker chick this time. And year 2026, only love for my people and myself. To manifest my best life, nature's cosmic energy.
Now mine, natural diamond intention pendants.
सामने नया सुपरमार्केट खुलने वाला है। क्या करूं कि पुराने कस्टमर भी रहें और नए भी आ जाएं?
देखो, आप दुकान के बाहर एक चाय कॉर्नर लगा सकते हो। चाय पीते पीते पुराने कस्टमर बातचीत करेंगे, उन्हें देखकर नए कस्टमर भी आएंगे और एक्स्ट्रा कमाई भी होगी। इसके अलावा आपके बिल्स देख के समझ लेते हैं कि कौन सा सामान कितना बिका है।
Red Fort explosion. Let's get you all the updates. Following the blast, there is of course a South Indian connection of Dr. Shaheen Shahid. Because this is news of national import that search operations are underway across the entire Al Falah University campus. The blast killed 12 people. Prices, however, of Nandini ghee have been hiked. KMF has defended Nandini is the brand. I've been getting a lot of queries on my phone. What's for the people of Karnataka? Okay, you can play tennis as much as you want to, but I'm the umpire and I will say please. There is an eyeball to eyeball confrontation. Where is this going? What is the way out? The farmers, they can actually shake a nation. Both of you down, because I can also shout Prashantji.
Welcome back. You're watching Morning Brief at 9. The US President Donald Trump has announced plans for a new class of American battleships, promising vessels that are bigger, faster, and far more powerful than anything built before. Donald Trump said construction will begin with 2 ships and could eventually expand to as many as 25. He also said he will meet defense contractors next week, questioning whether executive pay, stock buybacks, and dividends are slowing the weapons production. Listen in.
Welcome to Mar-a-Lago for this exciting announcement of the new Golden Fleet. We're calling it the Golden Fleet that we're building for the United States Navy. As you know, we're desperately in need of ships. Our ships some of them have gotten old and tired and obsolete, and we're going to go the exact opposite direction. Battleships are the largest, sturdiest, and most heavily armed vessel built specifically for naval combat. While America has built many new warships over the years, they've tended to be smaller and much smaller, and not conducive to where we are and where we're going, and peace through strength.
US President Donald Trump has once again put Greenland in the spotlight, insisting that America needs the vast Arctic island primarily for national security reasons and not just its rich mineral resources. Trump named Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry as special envoy to Greenland, a move that sparked sharp backlash from officials in Denmark and Greenland who insist the island is not for sale or annexation. Let's listen in to what the US President had to say about it.
Thank you, sir. You've named Governor Landry to be new special envoy to Greenland.
Yeah.
What do you see that role entailing?
We need Greenland for national protection. They have a very small population. And I don't know, they say Denmark, but Denmark has spent no money. They have no military protection. They say that Denmark was there 300 years ago or something with a boat. Well, we were there with boats too, I'm sure. So we'll have to work it all out. But he felt very strongly we need Greenland for national security, not for minerals.
The Trump administration has suspended leases for 5 major offshore wind projects off the US East Coast, citing national security concerns. The move sent offshore wind stocks tumbling and marks another setback for developers under a president openly critical of wind power. Take a look.
The Trump administration on Monday suspended leases for 5 large offshore wind projects that are under construction off the U.S. East Coast. It cited national security concerns, sending shares of offshore wind companies plunging. The suspension was the latest blow for offshore wind developers that have faced repeated disruptions to their multi-billion-dollar projects under U.S. President Donald Trump, who has said he finds wind turbines ugly, costly, and inefficient. The U.S. Department of the Interior said the move was the result of complaints by the Pentagon that the movement of the huge turbine blades, as well as the highly reflective towers that hold them up, cause radar interference that can make it hard to identify and locate threats. Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum has previously said offshore wind installations can make the United States more vulnerable to attacks by swarms of drones. New York Governor Kathy Hochul and Connecticut Attorney General William Tong said in separate statements on Monday that states affected by the freeze were reviewing their options. The National Ocean Industries Association, a trade group representing offshore wind developers, urged the administration to end the pause quickly, pointing out that the Pentagon had been involved in approving the projects under past administrations.
In some updates coming in from Wall Street, U.S. stocks closed higher on Monday to start the holiday shortened trading week, lifted by a broad rally in technology shares and gains across nearly all sectors of the S&P 500. Among other sectors, financials, materials and energy also posted a strong gains. Take a look.
Wall Street's main indexes closed higher on Monday, with the Dow gaining about 0.5%, the S&P 500 adding nearly 0.2%, and the Nasdaq climbing 0.5%. Technology shares continued their rebound from late last week, with Nvidia up 1.5%, providing the biggest lift to the S&P 500. Reuters reported the company has told Chinese clients it aims to start shipping its second most powerful AI chips to China before the Lunar New Year holiday in mid-February. Among other sectors, financials, materials, and energy also posted strong gains. Sam Stovall is chief investment strategist at CFRA Research.
We've just finished up the mid-December low when investors tend to unload their unprofitable trades, therefore being able to do some tax loss harvesting. And now they're putting their money back to work in areas that they feel have some potential for at least the near term.
Among other stock moves, shares of Micron Technology rose 4%, extending gains from late last week when the chipmaker's strong forecasts reignited optimism around AI-related shares. Shares of Tesla gained 1.5% and touched an intraday record high after CEO Elon Musk's 2018 pay package was restored late Friday by the Delaware Supreme Court. The ruling made Musk the first person to be worth about $700 billion and came 2 years after a lower court struck down the compensation deal as, quote, unfathomable. And shares of Warner Brothers Discovery rose 3.5% after Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison said he'd personally guarantee more than $40 billion of equity financing for Paramount Skydance's offer to acquire the company. Paramount stock rose more than 4%, while shares of Netflix, a rival bidder for Warner Brothers, fell more than 1%.
Japan's SoftBank is racing to finalize a massive funding deal of up to $22.5 billion for Sam Altman's OpenAI before the end of the year. The investment would be one of the biggest bets yet by SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son, as he looks to strengthen the firm's position in the global race for artificial intelligence.
SoftBank Group is reportedly racing to close a $22.5 billion funding commitment to OpenAI by the end of the year. According to sources, it's through an array of cash-raising schemes, including a sale of some investments. They added it could tap its undrawn margin loans borrowed against its valuable ownership in chip firm ARM Holdings. The bet on OpenAI is among the biggest yet by SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son. The Japanese billionaire wants to improve his firm's position in the race for artificial intelligence. To come up with the money, Son has already sold SoftBank's entire $5.8 billion stake in AI chip leader Nvidia, as well as offloading $4.8 billion of its T-Mobile stake and slashing staff. Son has slowed other deal-making at SoftBank's Vision Fund to a crawl, and two of the sources speaking to Reuters said any deal above $50 million now requires his explicit approval. SoftBank's push to marshal funds offers a window into the strain faced even by the world's biggest deal-makers. They're scrambling to finance ambitious AI data center projects worth hundreds of billions of dollars. SoftBank declined to comment. It secured a deal to invest in OpenAI at a $300 billion valuation in April. Since then, the valuation of OpenAI has risen dramatically, and the company is in talks to raise additional funding from investors, including Amazon.
The world's most valuable company, Americans Nvidia, says it aims to begin shipping its second most powerful H200 artificial intelligence chips to China before the Lunar New Year. However, significant uncertainty remains still as Beijing has yet to formally approve purchases of the US-made chips. The move follows US President Donald Trump's decision to allow limited AI chip exports to China under strict national security conditions and a government fee. Take a look.
Nvidia has told Chinese clients it aims to start shipping its second most powerful AI chips to China before the Lunar New Year holiday in mid-February. That's according to 3 people familiar with the matter speaking to Reuters. Nvidia has reportedly also told Chinese clients that it plans to add new production capacity for the chip, although significant uncertainty remains. Beijing has yet to approve any H200 purchases, and the sources added the timeline could shift depending on government decisions. Nvidia and China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology did not immediately respond to requests for comment. The planned shipments would mark the first deliveries of H200 chips to China after Donald Trump said this month that Washington would allow such sales with a 25% fee. It comes as China pushes to develop its domestic AI chip industry. Local firms have yet to match the H200's performance, raising concerns that allowing imports could slow domestic progress. Reuters reported this month that Chinese officials held emergency meetings to discuss the matter and are weighing whether to allow shipments.
China will impose provisional duties of up to 42.7% on certain European dairy imports starting from Tuesday, a move widely seen as retaliation for the European Union's tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. Most of the European companies are expected to have to pay around 30% in levies, with products like milk and cheese being targeted.
China will impose provisional duties of up to 42.7% on certain dairy products imported from the European Union. That's after concluding the first phase of an anti-subsidy probe widely seen as retaliation for the bloc's electric vehicle tariffs. Most companies are expected to have to pay around 30% in levies, with products like milk and cheese targeted, and duties will start being collected on Tuesday. European Commission spokesperson Olaf Gill said on Monday the move was unjustified and unwarranted.
We are doing everything it takes to defend EU farmers and exporters, as well as the common agricultural policy, against China's unfair use of trade defence instruments. The Commission already took action at the World Trade Organization against China's initiation of this investigation on dairy. As always, the Commission will take all necessary steps to defend the rights of European producers.
Monday's decision is provisional and could be revised when a final ruling is made. China significantly lowered provisional tariffs on pork in its final decision last week. Trade tensions with the European Union erupted in 2023 when the Commission launched an anti-subsidy investigation into Chinese-made electric vehicles. Roughly 60 firms, including Arla Foods, owner of brands like Lurpak and Castello, will pay tariffs between 28.6% and 29.7%, while Friesland Campina Netherlands BV will pay the highest rate of 42.7%.
Well, that's all we have to pack it up on the show as of now. Do stay tuned to News 9. Big news and headlines will be followed up for you on the other side.
"2026, take notes. Manifesting. For my little Miss Sunshine, tickles and giggles. Also wanna be a biker chick this time. And year 2026, only love for my people and myself. To manifest my best life, nature's cosmic energy.
Now mine, natural diamond intention pendants.
पढ़ता है खेलता है